go, there's no way. I'm already still burning. So hold me close, now baby. I do what I'm told, still learning to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing. You're my lucky strike, love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice, act like you're surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight, jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you, babe. Wanna go sky high with you, babe. Gotta bring you close to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in. So load up the dice, so heavy. The way that you roll, I'm falling. So I never fall, I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing. You're my lucky strike, yeah. Love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice, yeah. Act like you surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike.
All right, folks. Well, I usually get pretty excited when I hear that tune because it's time for another week of the Rec Poker Podcast. But today, oh my God, I am pretty freaking stoked. It is WSOP schedule release day. And because, I don't know, I helped a lot of old ladies across the street and built up a bunch of karma points, every year we are so pleased to welcome Kevin Mathers, the one and only at KevMath, here on the show. The schedule released like 2 hours ago, and we've got Kevin in the booth with us live right now on YouTube. We're going to break the schedule. We're going to break it down. We're going to take questions from the audience on YouTube live and see if people have questions about the schedule, about the logistics of traveling down there, about the best ways to buy in and that kind of stuff. We are here to break this puppy open. So I want to thank Chris Jones and Kim Kilroy from the Wrecking Crew for joining me here. And I want to thank the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. And that's it. Now I want to get into this freaking episode because I'm so excited about this. Kevin Mathers, thank you so much for sharing your time with us every year. You are Mr. WSOP Twitter, and I'm just so excited to have you back here on the show to talk about the new schedule and all the fun we're going to have this summer.
Yes, I am honored to be back on the podcast. It's been a while since we've actually talked. I know it's been a few months, but yeah, it is. This is definitely an exciting day for me as well. They see the WSP schedule, everything all in one shot, and when I tweet about the interest that it generates. So it's basically got like 4 months about 4 months until everything starts. So I mean, it's sort of the questions have been starting to be asked. So I'm ready to go.
Nice. Well, I'll encourage if you're watching this on YouTube, if you've got any questions, feel free to type them into the chat there. Otherwise, Chris and Kim and I are going to talk to Kevin here, and we've got some questions of our own. Kevin, you mentioned it's a few months away, so it is kind of time now that the schedule's out. It's not too early for people to really start thinking about dates that they want to go down, booking hotel rooms, booking flights, making those kind of travel arrangements. Like Kim was saying just before the show, time to start grinding up that bankroll a little. We got to put a little tournament budget together for this summer. I know we're all really excited for that. Kevin, you've been behind the scenes for this whole thing coming together, and I know this is an extremely busy day for you where a lot of things are all coming to fruition at once. What are your first thoughts when the schedule gets released? I know there's some new kind of events coming out. What do you think our audience should be kind of have their antenna tuned for now that we're in this official phase?
Yeah, I mean, well, we could sort of start with what happened back in December when they announced the dates for the WSP, and they announced some highlight events, like the mystery, so basically they did is all the big weekend events they announced ahead of time. So like to start with the opening weekend, we have the Mystery Millions, $1,000 buy-in. It's got $1 million guaranteed. It's going to have $1 million guaranteed to first place, and then the top value will once again be $1 million. So it was definitely a huge success last year, and I sort of expect more of the same this year. And you go along, you've got they got then the following week it's the smallest buy-in event, live brace event ever, the $300 Gladiators of Poker. Have several flights, and that actually starts on the 7th of June. That's a Wednesday, but there's going to be 4 flights of that, $300 buy-in, $3 million guaranteed, and they should easily crush that. Without, and it's we can go as we go along, got the standbys, you got your Millionaire Maker, you got your Monster Stack, Salute to Warriors, you got the Seniors event, the Ladies event. It's we sort of start with that, it's sort of like those are the big events that that draw the huge crowds to the newly renamed Horseshoe and Terrace this over the next, starting on the 30th of May and going through mid-July. So it's
that's a great point actually, because the facilities are the same as last year. Last year was the first time that they'd done this at Bally's in Paris, but this is the first year that Bally's been rebranded as the Horseshoe, and it's the official host of the WSOP this summer. Does that have any logistical issues, do you think, for the people putting it on? They've used the facilities before. Do you think that there's going to be any issues or potential problems kind of getting it running it logistically?
Well, I think I think they definitely had some issues, especially with the air conditioning in Actually, there was an article that came out. Actually, it came out on Christmas Day on Poker News. Jack Ethel was talking about there was various issues that they wanted to rectify. Obviously the air conditioning was like there was a lot of issues with that. And then another big issue was, especially with the bigger events, they would have to go from tournaments would start in Paris, and then eventually they would break into Horseshoe. So you had to go through the casino to get to the other room. And reading the article, it looks like they're going to go into the reverse for 2023, where they're going to start in at Horseshoe and go into Paris. So we'll see. I think there's various issues that are going to happen. Basically people with chip. There's always issues of chip security. People palming chips to other else, and so hopefully that'll be tightened up a little bit in the process of moving players. There's there's always going to be that's going to be an issue. And it's sort of like another issue is registration is always I assume it's going to remain the same. It's going to be always in Paris only.
Right.
And there was definitely a bit of confusion. There was definitely confusion because people would assume because they see Bally's and Horseshoe, you think there's two separate registration areas, and that is really not the case. The only way you could register at Bally's was if there was a tournament that had re-entry, you could re-enter that at Bally's. It had a cage set dedicated to that. But then you would, but it's all the main registration is going to be on the Paris side again this year.
Okay, so good to know for people. And if people are thinking about getting down there and making some accommodations, I'm a sucker for the Flamingo because it's right across the street from the Horseshoe and Paris, and it's a pretty good price point, pretty good value for hotel rooms on the Strip. But if you can get a place in the Horseshoe or in Paris while you're playing in the bracelet events, there's a real advantage to actually being able to just like run up to your room and back on a 15 or a 20-minute break. That does have some nice benefits. So I'm going to be trying I'm looking at a few different hotel spots down there, but I do encourage people to, if they can get a good rate real close by, that does make a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're looking at staying at Horseshoe, the resort tower is definitely where you want to, because that's the elevators go right down, and that's going to be it's a very short walk into the tournament area.
Okay, that's the resort tower.
Yeah, it's resort tower. Yeah, Jubilee's the other tower. That's a little further away. So you want resort. You want the resort tower in Horseshoe.
Okay, good tip. That's why we bring them on, folks. All right. So looking at the calendar or looking at the schedule as it comes out, there are 95 total events. I know that includes some of the online events as well.
That's not right. It's 95. Yeah, it's 95 live events, and then there's going to be 20 online bracelet events available for New Jersey and Nevada. And
I
then
see.
Be 7 in Michigan and 7 more in Pennsylvania.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so there's 95 actual live events here,
yes.
Which is phenomenal. And again, if people aren't sure, it's from Tuesday, May 30th, right through to Tuesday, July 18th.
Right.
I know a lot of our listeners are recreational poker players, so I took a quick look through this, and I just kind of took a filter for tournaments that are no limit hold'em, $2,500 or less. And that was about it. If you include, there's a 6 max, there's the ladies, and there's the seniors and the super seniors. But if you include those all together, there's about 30 or 31 tournaments here that if you've got a couple $1,000 or less, like Kevin points out, you can get into the Gladiators for 300. There's a 600, there's a 500, there's several in the $1,000 or $1,500 range here. There's some really good value for a recreational player that wants to go down there and win a bracelet. I mean, they've really done a good job opening up the bankroll requirements. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I would agree. There's definitely two distinct buy-ins here. There's definitely, like you said, the lower buy-ins for the recreational players like you, me, and a lot of people that are listening right now. And then there's also the high limit tournament, the high event. The high rollers. They go from 10K up to 250K, like they did last year. So there's definitely a variety of price points for everyone that would like to play a bracelet.
No, it's great. I love the way, and this has been a real point of emphasis for WSOP over the last few years to make it more accessible to your average player, which is commendable. So why don't we just roll through? I'm just gonna, you know me, I'm a pen and paper guy. So I'm just going to roll through some of the dates starting from the top for some of these more recreational friendly events. And if anything, Kevin, if anything comes up, please just let me know if I'm missing something here.
Sure.
So obviously on Tuesday, May 30th, the very first event is always the casino employees event. This is a no limit hold'em $500 event. And this is super fun. It's always a great crowd that plays in this. If you are a casino employee, this is a wonderful way to throw your hat in the ring. For $500. On Wednesday, May 31st, there's event number 3, the $1,000 Mystery Millions that Kevin was talking about at the beginning. This is a multi-flight event, a multiple day event for $1,000. And Kevin, you were saying that the top prize is guaranteed $1 million. and the top bounty is also guaranteed to be $1 million?
Yes, that's correct. And
Oh
and
my
you are
God.
each flight is the day ones are there's 30-minute levels and there's one re-entry per flight. So I think there was probably about sort of expect 20,000 entries into this. But
Amazing.
Yeah,
and when you say one re-entry per flight, does that mean that if I play day 1A and bust and re-enter on day 1A and bust, can I still play day 1, 2?
Yeah, you
or 1B rather?
You can play. Yeah, you can play 8. You can play up to 8 times.
Amazing.
Hopefully,
great.
that would be good because that's $8,000 a pull. But
yeah, that's right.
if you hit the $1 million bounty, that's obviously good. Or hit like one of the really big bounties.
That's right. And I know you're thinking, boy, if I had that $1 million bounty, you can play the main event for quite a few years with house money. So there's an argument there. You don't even have to be that good at poker. Just make it to day 2 and take out the right person. Right?
Exactly. It's I mean, it's for last year, of course, it was Matt Lance, who's a well-known
I know.
Pro. And how good does he run? To 30 million.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I saw that. We all had a chuckle about that one.
Yeah, I was there right next. I was there at the stadium. I was like, and it was like this all, and I was like, oh, it was kind of early on day 2. It's not really early, but it's like a couple hours in. So
yeah,
it's sort of the excitement was building as people were pointing out the mystery envelopes.
Of course. And if people aren't familiar with it, the way it works is on day 1 there are no bounties at all, and what that does is that kind of helps consolidate the prize pool into some bigger bounties later in the tournament. And then there's just a random distribution of bounties in unmarked envelopes, and you literally draw an envelope out of a drum, and the value on that card is the value of the bounty that you've won. And it could be anything from, do you know what the range is, Kevin? What's the lowest bounty?
I think this year, I may be wrong on this, but I think it's going to start at 10. Actually, I think that's right. I'm thinking, I was thinking 10,000 to 1 million, but I think that's wrong. But because I'm just looking at the structure sheet and they don't have it specified. But I probably saw in the announcement that they were going to do 10,000 to 1 million. But
that's pretty sweet. I was expecting it to be lower than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll have to look, to be honest.
Okay, well, that's okay. People.
Well, I mean, we have plenty of time, Jim. So
yes, exactly.
We will get this figured out. But
yeah, that's right, and that's true. And I know, Kevin's so generous to jump on the air with us, like literally as this thing has come up the same day. So they haven't necessarily uploaded all the structure sheets and anything like that. And if you're,
to be fair, they actually have all the structure sheets are available online.
Oh, great. Okay. And actually, I see Chris Jones has just pulled it up here. If you're watching live on YouTube, or if you're watching this might be a good one, folks, if you're listening at home, to go to the YouTube page and watch along, because we're going to be Chris is sharing the images of the structure sheets and the schedule as we go through it. Chris, doesn't look like it doesn't look like it mentions there the
no. I could swear maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I could swear I saw 10,000. But that may be because there's also a 10K mystery bounty later. So maybe that's what maybe I'm thinking that's what the range was going to be. Or
that makes sense.
So anyway, but we'll worry about that when we get to that point.
Exactly.
In discussion.
So then looking ahead, the next sort of recreational friendly tournament, and again, I'm using that term loosely. There's a lot of great mixed games tournaments in here that I'm not going to cover just because we only have so much time. And I know most of our fans are No Limit Hold'em fans. We will be talking more about mixed games as WSOP gets closer, but we'll just focus on some of these more mainstream ones today. On Sunday, June 4th, event number 11 is the $600 No Limit Hold'em Deep Stack. And that one's a $600 entry, which is fantastic. Deep stack structure. And it looks like, let me see, levels are 30 minutes and you start with 30,000 chips. Yeah.
Yeah. And these were very, very, these have been very popular over the past couple of years. They've offered the under 1K deep stack, 2-day events. We usually see, at least, about 3,000, 4,000 entries. So it's definitely going to be, it's definitely, these type of events are definitely ones you want to register early for as well. And, if you're going to be in on the week, if you're coming in to play on a weekend, registration will be available starting on live registration will be available starting on May 30th and running 24/7 throughout the series. And of course, there's also be online registration, which that should be available. I think the online registration for Bravo Poker Live, which we can discuss probably later, when that goes, you'll have him back on and we can discuss that.
Yeah, let's do that, Kevin. Let's have you back on in April or something like that, and then we can go over some of the details about loading up your account and registration and where the kiosks are and that kind of thing. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
But Kevin makes a great point here. Don't, if you're listening to this and then you're thinking about going down for the first time, don't go planning to register right before your tournament starts. The registration desks are open 24/7. And if you know you're playing a few events, like just the day you get down there, the day before your event, something like that, head down to the desk and register at an off-peak hour later at night or earlier in the morning or something like that, because the lines can be pretty extreme. And you don't want to get stuck entering into late registration or being an alternate or something like that, when you could be experiencing a bracelet event from the very first hand dealt. So get in there. Just logistics, they matter.
Yes, they do. That.
Wednesday, June 7th. This is the next one that Kevin was talking about, event number 18, the $300 Gladiators of Poker, $3 million guaranteed prize pool. This is another multi-day event with multiple flights. Is this 2 re-entries per flight? Am I reading that right, Kevin?
Yes, that's correct. So you could enter up to 12 times in this event.
But at 300, that's a bargain. You really could enter up to 12 times and still have something.
But I mean, of course, if you bag at one of the flights, you can't enter later flights. But if you can't. So it's sort of like using 12 is sort of like the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's right.
You bag chips, and you don't forfeit your stack. I mean, each flight will get into the money, so that's a one benefit. So you can bust, you can cash, bust, and then enter another flight.
Okay, gotcha.
Not that good. So you could cash, this event, a mystery. I'm not sure about mystery bounty, but there's going to be several events where you can cash multiple times.
Interesting. So you could cash on different flights, but you just have to move on with your bigger stack. Am I understanding that correctly?
No, it's not. It's not best stack forward. So if you bag chips at the end of the night, you can't enter another. So if you play 1A, you can't play B, C, and D.
Got it. That makes sense.
You can only move forward with your chips one time.
But you reach.
That's what I thought you meant.
But you reach the money before you bag.
Yes,
I think is the point. So like you could win money and then bust and then re-enter.
Correct.
I see.
Yes. And and you could also, let's say like you have like let's say you finish the flight with one big blind, you could forfeit your stack,
right?
And then you could enter another flight, and you would forfeit your stack, and say, I want to try again here.
Yeah.
So that option is always available as well.
And I wouldn't recommend that for the $1,000 or $1,500 tournaments, but for the $300 tournament, I mean, honestly, that's kind of a cool idea. So that's an interesting concept. So you cash before you bag, and that's the point at which you have to make that decision. That's very interesting. All right. And again, that one's Wednesday, June 7th, Thursday, June 8th, Friday, June 9th, and Saturday, June 10th are all different day ones of that event. So,
and I should add that if people looking at the schedule, they will notice, a lot of the weekend events would have like an earlier start time, like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of tournaments this year are going to have that 10 a.m. start time. So that's something that you should keep in mind as well. So if you don't want to over celebrate the night before, because you're going to have an early wake up time the following day.
That's right. And if you're an eager beaver like me, a 10 a.m. start time means like being at the place at 9:45, feeling comfortable, not rushing over there and getting all sweaty and hyperventilating, going to the bathroom. Give yourself time to be relaxed. You want to be calm and relaxed when these things start. So don't rush. Don't put yourself in that box. Event number 19 on Wednesday, June 7th. This is one of the more expensive ones we're going to talk about tonight. This is a $2,500 freeze out no limit hold'em. It's a freeze out, so there's no re-entries. 40-minute levels, and then I guess 60-minute levels on future days, and 35,000 starting chips. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, you've got that all nailed down.
Well, it's not my first time doing this. I'm no Kevin Mathers, but I've had him on the show every year for the last 3 years. So you're starting to rub off on me, Kevin. I'm so excited.
I appreciate it. I'd like to think that I'm doing something good here.
Hell yeah, brother. So that's going to be, a bigger buy-in is a bigger prize pool, probably a higher caliber of player pool as well. So that's something to factor in when people are thinking about this. Like, we're focusing on the lower entry tournaments because those are going to be the more kind of rec friendly player fields is what I'm trying to say. So the next one coming up, event number 26. This is on Sunday, June 11th. This is the $800 no limit hold'em deep stack. So it starts with 40,000 chips, and levels are 30 minutes. There is, I'm looking at this, it looks like 1 re-entry. Is that right, Kevin?
That is correct.
Cool.
You're going to see a lot, especially deep stack. This deep stack events are going to be usually limited to 1 re-entry. I know there's some events that we'll probably discuss that, like with the Gladiators, because they have 2 re-entries. So the max for any event, for those events that have re-entry, there's going to be a maximum. There may be a couple of events, but that will have the unlimited re-entry, but 2 re-entries is going to be a max.
Yep. And that would be per flight on these multi-flight events.
Right. And again, and if you look at the structure sheets, it will state 1 re-entry, 2 re-entry, or it'll say a freeze out, which of course means no re-entry.
Right. Yes. And folks, do pay attention to these structure sheets, because if you just go and download the PDF of the tournament series schedule itself, it won't list the day twos. It won't list some of the details about how many re-entries or when the re-entry is allowed by. And you can end up, if you're trying to go down, everyone should pick a few tournaments that they want to play and then base their travel schedule around that. And you might end up, if you don't look at the structure sheets properly, you might end up getting down there and realizing that a day 2 for one of your tournaments conflicts with a day 1 or something else, and that just wasn't available on the main PDF. So go pour over those structure sheets and find out all the information you need to before you get down.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely, the key is to be prepared. The information is out there. So if you look hard, it's not that hard. I don't think it's that hard to find, but I may be an outlier in some instances.
Well, you're more than average. You're plugged in a little more than average, Kevin. But I will say, and Kevin is so generous with his time on Twitter. So if you're listening to this, if you don't know who Kevin Mathers is, then I'm sorry you've been living under a rock for the last several years. But he's at KevMath on Twitter, and he has all this information at his fingertips. So please Google first before you tweet at KevMath, because Kevin gets the same question about 100,000 times over the course of May and June. What's the one that you're expecting the most this year, Kevin? Is it about whether the Millionaire Maker's a re-entry, or what's the one that you seem to get?
The monster stack was always the big one. That was always that flights if there's re-entry. And of course, what they did last year is they decided to switch it up. They added, if you bust on the opening flight, you can re-enter on the second flight.
They're just keeping you on your toes.
Exactly. And I think, the past few years, the one big question is if you register before the start of the tournament, is your stack going to be in play from the start?
Right.
And what's been the case in past years is basically for the smaller buying events, your stack is not in play until you sit down. But if you I wouldn't suggest showing up 3 levels in, because there's always a chance that they'll basically put someone in your seat, and then your chips, you'll still have a full stack when you sit down, but you may not be at that seat that you registered for.
Yep. And that's a great point, folks. There's a difference between like late registering and then registering on time, but not showing up until later. And in some of these events, and we'll get into more of the details about this when we have Kevin back on a little later this spring. In some of the tournaments, they will put your chips on the table and start blinding you out. In some of them, they'll just keep them in the well, and your table will essentially play shorthanded until you show up or until an alternate or a late registered player gets put in that seat instead, and then you'll have to kind of line up and enter almost as a late registrant. Is that essentially correct, Kevin? You can kind of have to get back in the line.
Yeah. The bigger buy-in events, you're going to see. I mean, most of the people that are probably listening are probably not going to be playing the higher buy-in events, but
right.
I would say I think if it's basically anything over 1,500, chips will be in play from the start, except for the main event. Like I said, the weekend. Again, this may change in the meantime, but that's been the standard for the past few years. Is basically you could show up late and get your full stack. But again, it's sort of like, if you show up half hour late, that's cool. But if you show up 6 hours late, you're not going to get that seat. You'll be in the late registration line wondering what's going on.
And this is a bit of a tangent, but let's just talk about this now quickly. Are you still going to be able to enter directly onto day 2 for the main this year? And if so, does that also apply to any other tournaments?
Yes, there are several. Basically, most of the 10K and up events they're going to allow. Most events you could start and register until the start of day 2. The main event you can enter until the end of the start of level 8 on day 2 ABC, or the start of level 8 on day 2D.
Okay, interesting.
But again, all that information is posted on all the structure sheets, so you can find out when when's the absolute latest you can show up and register for any of these.
Fantastic. And so folks, like I say, take a look at the schedule, circle a week or a weekend or something that has a couple tournaments that you're interested in, and then go dive deep into the structure sheets and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. Chris, of course, jump in anytime if there's anything you want to add here. I'm just going to keep rolling through. Monday, June 12th, event number 28 is the $1,500 freeze out. Starting chips 25,000 and starting levels at 40 minutes. So that seems to be kind of a sweet spot, that $1,500 buy-in. We see that a lot here. We're not going to talk about many tournaments that are more expensive than that because they just have so many good ones that are 1,500 and under. But that's another great shot. It's a freeze out, so everyone's got the same odds of making it through. It's not a question of these other ones where people can just keep pumping re-entries in and getting unlucky and continuing in the tournament. So that's a nice leveler there. If you want to make sure that you've got the same chance of getting through as all those rich folks out there.
Exactly.
Thursday, June 15th, event number 37. This is a $2,000 no limit hold'em. It's a 1 re-entry. This is a $30,000 chip stack with 40-minute levels, and very similar to the other structures that we're looking at here. Which is with that 1 re-entry. And when these are 1 re-entry, Kevin, is that typically end of day 1, or is there a particular level or something like that?
It's usually through 40-minute level. It would be before the start of level 10. You could re-enter.
Okay.
That's when late registration ends.
Oh yeah, and actually I do see even on this one here it mentions when registration closes. After so many levels, 9 levels, 12 levels, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then so a lot of these are going to be on day 1, I would imagine then.
Right. Yeah. Most of the lower buy-in events, it's going to be about 6 hours of late registration is usually the case.
Yep.
For these smaller buy-in events.
Okay, that's a good way to be thinking about it. Friday, June 16th, we've got the $1,500 monster stack. So this is another multi-flight, multi-day event, 10 levels of re-entry. It says here, bust 1, play 2. Talk to me about that, Kevin. What does that mean?
Well, that basically means you could play flight A, bust, and then you can't enter flight A again, but you can enter the following flight.
I see. Great. And this one has a day 1A on Friday, June 16th, and a day 1B on Saturday, June 17th. And those are the only 2 opportunities. So if you bust on day 1, you can play day 2. But if you only play day 2 and you bust, there will be no
right. Well, it's probably better to say flight day 1A.
Oh,
1.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, it's probably easier to explain it that way. Yeah, because you say day 1, day 2, it's sort of like
no.
No, it's
Great point. Yeah. So if you bust day 1A, you can still enter day 1B. But if you bust day 1B, there will be no ability to re-enter. Even
yeah,
though
you're gonna have to play something else.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Luckily, there's going to be a lot of options around there, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of options. There'll be plenty of other tournaments to play.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's true.
There'll be plenty of action around town, so you don't have to worry about that. You're not going to be lacking.
Yeah, sure. You're going to be able to find a chance to play some poker down there if you're down there around then. So Sunday, June 18th, event number 42. This is an $800 deep stack. It's 8-handed, which is just a slight variation. A lot of these are going to be 9-handed. This kind of
or even 10. There's probably going to be, especially the bigger events, they're probably going to start 10-handed.
Good point. And if you're listening at home and not sure what that really means, basically it just means kind of tighten up a little more your opening ranges, because with 10 people sitting around the table, it's just more likely that some premium hands are getting dealt out there. And of course, you got less elbow room is the other thing that means. So
that's definitely another factor. It's definitely not going to be as comfortable at the table as you would hope. I mean,
no, it's true. Yeah, big guys like you and me, we gotta guard that elbow room pretty jealously, I think.
Exactly.
But this one's an 8-handed, so there'll be tons of room, and you can open up those opening ranges a little bit too, which is also a nice benefit there. And it's $800, so there's some symmetry there. On Tuesday, June 20th, my birthday, by the way, $500 freeze out, no limit hold'em. So that sounds like a perfect way to turn 43. Perfect, honestly. A $500 freeze out, get a chance to win a bracelet. 2,500 starting chips and 30-minute levels, and late reg is open for 12 levels, but of course that only matters if you are registering for the first time, because it's a freeze out, so there's no re-entry.
Actually, it's going to be 11 levels in the 500. It's usually 12, but this one is 11 levels.
Oh, okay, and that's why we have Kevin on the show. That kind of
exactly. So, 25,000 just tournament levels, 11 levels of late registration. So it's great. They're doing it this way because they're going to do the color after level 11, and I'm sure you certainly experienced. So the colors could take a little longer,
right?
Especially the first one, because they're racing out the smallest denomination chips. So they may there may be an extended color break, and so they sort of decided we're going to end registration once we get all those chips off the table.
Good thinking. On Wednesday, June 21st, event number 48 is the seniors event. This is a $1,000 no limit hold'em. There is one re-entry per flight, and I think there are 2 day ones here, day 1A on Wednesday the 21st and day 1B on Thursday the 22nd. And for a seniors event, you have to be 50 years of age or older at the time of the event. Otherwise, it's just a perfectly normal no limit hold'em tournament, just like these other ones that we've been talking about.
Sorry, Jim. I think it's 50 the year in turning 50 this year.
Oh, okay. Even if you're
Up
turning
till
50
December
in the fall.
31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. It is the date of the tournament. So you would have to be 50 on at the latest June 22nd.
So it's different for the super seniors?
It would be 60 on the date of the tournament.
So okay, because they let Elizabeth play last year and cash in it, and she wasn't 60 till October.
Well, don't tell her. Don't tell everyone.
No, they did. They told her that she just had to be turning 60 that year. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's not really. I'm not going to quibble with, but I'm almost certain that's not really the case. But again, that may have been something at registration, so that's a different issue. So.
All right, so folks, if you're on the cusp, go check that out. Get some answers from the tournament officials there, because you don't want to. I mean, if they let you register, that you'd think that they'd have to pay you out, but just don't make any assumptions about this kind of stuff. In that particular, I don't. It's usually the date of the tournament itself, not that year, right? Because I think I'm almost certain they also say that in the rules somewhere, but.
I will double check on that too at some point and just get that confirmation for you, Kim.
Sweet. Rolling on through Wednesday, June 21st, the $1,500 Super Turbo Bounty No Limit Hold'em. This is this a freeze out? It looks like it.
Yeah, it is a free. This one is a freeze out, and actually, this is the tournament I cashed in last year. My first.
Oh yeah, I remember. Right.
This
was a fun format. This is the one where I folded Jack 9 with like 6 big blinds, and we had a big Twitter conversation about it afterwards. This is a good way to get in there fast and dirty and pick up some bounties. It's a $500 bounty out of the 1,500 entry.
Correct.
Okay, I know Chris has to go soon, so we're going to wrap through these final few events here. Tuesday, June 22nd is event number 51, the $1,000 tag team, which is a super fun event. It's a great structure, a great format. Even if you're not playing in this event, go hang out where this event is going on, because all the pros and celebrities are playing with their buddies, which means that instead of sitting down and grinding the whole time, they're sitting down and grinding half the time, and the other half of the time they're railing their bud. So the aisles and the halls are just full of unoccupied poker celebrities who are bored and looking to talk to people. So it's a super fun way to go and rub elbows with some of the poker Illuminati, and have some, or well, you know what I mean.
Think luminaries is what you're looking for.
The bright lights of the
bright lights of the poker world. Yeah, not the puppet masters that are actually running everything behind the scenes. Yeah.
Not the ones that fix all the games and do all the right. Anyway, that doesn't happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Friday, June 23rd is event number 53, the 1,500 Millionaire Maker. One re-entry per flight, and this is the one where there's a $1 million guaranteed prize for first place, and 60-minute levels, $25,000 starting stack.
Right.
And this one has multiple days as well. On Sunday, June 25th, event number 56, the $500 Salute to Warriors. This is a one re-entry $500 event. Again, no limit hold'em. 40-minute levels. You start with 50,000 chips, and the proceeds are donated to the USO and other veteran organizations. So this is a nice.
Right, and this is open to everyone. It's not limited to people in the military or who served or are serving. It is an open tournament for everyone to play.
Great point. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sure that causes some confusion every year. And again, we're hitting the 31 events that I think are most important to our recreational listeners. So I'm going to skip a bunch of stuff here, but again, these sub $2,500 no limit hold'em varieties are what we're talking about. On Tuesday, June 27th, event number 61, the $1,000 Super Seniors. This is again a one re-entry, 60-minute levels, 20,000 chips, and you have to be 60 years of age or older at the time of the event, I think, and we'll get some clarity on that before we get started. Wednesday, June 28th, event number 64 is the $600 Deep Stack Championship. One re-entry, and this is another one of those great, $600, go win a bracelet. It's a deep stack. There's plenty of room to play, and one entry, even if you get busted out, it's not the end of the world. On Thursday, June 29th, event number 67. This is the ladies. It's a one-day one. It's a $1,000 event, one re-entry, 60-minute levels, and 20,000 chips. Entry is $10,000. Ladies' discounted price is $1,000, and that's kind of, if you're familiar with this event, there's, I don't know, is it a controversy? Is it like a technique? There's this weirdness about other people who are not ladies trying to play in this event. And so they pay a $10,000 entry to do so, because ladies get a discounted price of $1,000. So the listed price is $1,000. That's maybe a whole other podcast episode that we could talk about before that one comes up.
Yeah, but that's definitely something we could probably save for later if we're finishing up the rest of the events that people are going to be interested in.
I think that's a good idea. But yeah, folks, I know this would be, so the seniors and the ladies are really the only two events that or the super seniors are the only events that not just anybody can sign up for. Most of these are going to be anyone who's got the buy-in can come and play.
Exactly.
Event number 68 on the June 29th is the $1,000 Super Turbo Bounty. No re-entry, 20-minute levels, and 20,000 chips to start. Every player is a $300 bounty out of the $1,000 entry. This one's going to go fast. Starting with 20,000 chips and 20-minute levels, you're going to want to get those chips doing their work for you pretty quickly there, because you're not going to have a lot of time to sit back and play.
Exactly.
Another nice one coming here for our recreational players on Friday, June 30th. Event number 70 is the $400 Colossus. One re-entry per flight. And there are 2 day ones, 1A on Friday the 30th and day 1B on July 1st, Saturday, July 1st, Canada Day. And this is a super fun format, 40,000 chips, 40-minute levels, and it's a fun format as well. Sunday, July. Yeah, please.
Just to add really quickly, this is another tournament where you can make the money on day 1A bust and then play 1B to the second play.
Cool. That is such an interesting tweak. That's such an interesting little wrinkle to this. That's something we're going to have to explore when we get you back on here, Kevin, because I want to talk more about that. On Sunday, July 2nd, event number 74, the $1,000 mini main. This is basically just a format that kind of mimics the main event, happens just beforehand. And in this case, it's a $1,000 entry, no re-entry, 30-minute levels, and 60,000 chips to start. So you get a couple little baby avocados in there, which is how you like to do it with those nice green $25,000 chips.
Yes.
On Monday, July 3rd, event number 76. That's what we're all here for, the $10,000 main event. It's a freeze out again, 60,000 starting chips and 60-minute levels, $10,000 entry. And of course, there are a whole ton of satellites to this going on throughout the series down there. Kevin, if folks don't have $10,000 in the couch cushions, what's the best way to, or what are some easy ways to find other satellites that they could win their way into this when they're down there?
Okay, so that's a good thing you pointed out, because that was something I did want to bring up on this podcast. If you're outside the U.S. and if you play on GG Poker, they are guaranteeing 600 main event seats on GG Poker. That's 500 on the main GG Poker site, plus another 100 on the clubgg.net subscription site. That's available. The GG Poker Club GG is available for players in the U.S. If you are in Nevada, New Jersey, and Michigan or Pennsylvania, there's also going to be they're going to have WSOP.com is going to have what they're calling their 112 seat sprint, which is going to be 112 main event seats running from June 25th through July 8th. And they're going to have starting on June 25th, they're going to guarantee 10 seats per day through various satellites. They also, their big satellite event is the 25 seat scramble, which is 25 seat main event seats guaranteed July 2nd. And they're also the very popular no rake, which people love, all in satellites that are between 80 or $126. It's basically you're doing flips to win a main event seat, and again, no juice.
Right.
And one other key point I should bring up is if they break the 2006 record of 8,773 players in the main event, anyone who enters will be put into a drawing that will award the winner a free main event seat for the next 30 years.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you're one of those young guns, if you want, that's definitely, getting a free seat for 30 years is pretty ideal. So
that sounds good. And so that's going to be raffled off basically amongst all the entries if they break the record.
Yes, that's everyone who enters the main event. They will do the drawing on July 8th, and it's going to be for everyone that plays the main event. This year.
No matter how you got in.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how you got in. And one other thing I should mention, there's also going to be something called Main Event Mania, and I've seen it spelled two different ways.
I've seen that too, yeah.
and MAYNIA. But this will be on May 20th and 21st. And it's going to be several Caesars properties around the U.S. And also, there's going to be they're also going to be available at King's Resort in Rotterdam. There's going to be one in France. There's one on Deerfoot in Calgary, Morocco, and Uruguay. And it's basically going to be they're going to have they'll have a $140 step tournament into a $1,175 main event mega satellite, and you can win a seat and travel to Las Vegas. And that becomes available as it becomes available at WSOP.com/main event.
Okay, awesome. Well, so obviously that's what everyone gets excited about. It looks like there's all sorts of perks coming together to make that more fun for everybody.
Yeah, and I think since we were so close last year to breaking the record, I think they're definitely want to get over the top. And with all these promotions we're doing, especially the number of seats available on GG, they should no problem breaking 87.73.
That's a great point. So if you're on the fence, folks, maybe try and satellite in this year and win yourself a chance at 30 years of playing in the main event. Ooh, that sounds good. I like that idea. All right, we're going to race through the last few events here. So on Friday, July 7th is event number 77, the 777 Lucky Sevens, No Limit Hold'em. This is they've done this before. It is a unlimited re-entry for this one. $777,000 and 777 is guaranteed for first place. Multiple flights, and this one also seems like it's a fun tournament.
They also played seven-handed, and also for the first time,
seven-handed.
And they've also coordinated the event number with the event, so it is event. First time they're doing that. That's a plus as well.
That's nice. Tuesday, July 11th, event number 81. This is the $600 Ultra Stack, 2 re-entries, and $60,000 starting chips. And again, this is another one of those payouts every flight. And for $600, it seems like a cool chance to go get a bracelet.
Exactly.
Tuesday, July 11th. Oh, actually, that's online, number 17. Never mind. We're not going to bother with that. The Ultra Stack has a couple day ones. The event number 85 on Thursday, July 13th. This is a $1,500 shootout. So this is a slightly different format where every table that you're playing at plays down to a winner. So you start 9-handed, you play down to a winner, and then that winner goes off and plays against 9 of the other winners from other tables. And so the field breaks down table by table like that. So it does give an advantage to players that are a little more experienced playing shorthanded. It's an interesting little format. It might not be for you if you're trying to just come in and take a shot and ride the wave right down into the money. Thursday, July 13th, event number 86, the $1,979 Poker Hall of Fame bounty, which is fantastic. I know Chris has to get out of here, so we're just going to roll through the last few of these here. Event number 88, $1,500 entry for the closer, which they do every year. One of my personal favorites, event number 89 on Friday, July 14th, is the $1,000 flip and go. If you want to donk your way in like I did, that's my first WSOP cash was in the flip and go. So, I'm a fan. Finally, Sunday, July 16th, event number 92, $1,000 freeze out. And then it all comes together on Tuesday, July 18th for event number 95, the $1,000 Super Turbo No Limit Hold'em. So that's the overview, folks. That's we've just kind of gone over 31 of the 95 live events that'll be in Las Vegas, Nevada from May 30th to July 18th for the World Series of Poker. Kevin, any final thoughts before we roll on out of here? I'm looking forward to having you back in a couple months and getting into some more detail about some of these tournaments.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll definitely love to come back. And I would just suggest, like I said, if you go to WSOP.com/2023, you're going to see a lot of information. You'll be able to see events. You'll see the full schedule, more about details about main event mania. You see all the structure sheets in one location, in one file, and a lot of information will be added over the time at that site. The rules and information about satellites and
deep stacks. So it's always good to check that out. And I thought and since I do work for the Henry Map, I have added the schedules for the daily deep stacks and satellites over at thehendonmob.com. So if you want, just type in daily deep stacks or WSOP satellites, you'll see the full schedules for those events as well.
Fantastic. And yeah, folks, do go check that out for yourself first. But if you're still having trouble finding some details, go out and tag at KevMath on Twitter, and he'll help you out. And usually if you just look at his most recent tweets, the answer to your question might be in there already. So thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you, Chris Jones. Thank you, Kim Kilroy. Thanks to the Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. I'm so grateful to have this job. I've got the best freaking job in the world. I get to talk poker with these folks all the time. And I am pretty excited about WSOP this year. So maybe I'll see you down there this summer. All right. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great day.